Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. For the third time in WrestleMania history, these two industry giants squared off in the main event of WrestleMania 38. This time with the stakes higher than ever before. Both the WWE and Universal Championships were on the line in a winner-take-all match that would shape the future of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown for the foreseeable future. With two world titles on the line and bragging rights on the line, the most heated rivalry in the company came to a head in the show-closing contest of last night's action at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Who emerged with the gold and what went down on the rest of the card when superstars settled grudges and tag titles were decided? Find out now with this recap of night 2 of the showcase of the Immortals on this very special edition of Ridiculously Raw. Welcome everybody to this very special edition of Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Phenom Michael Bullock, fresh off another one of our legendary Raw chats, of course. And there isn't much more to say, gentlemen, except last night we initially planned on having our WrestleMania Night 2 recap with MF on BraceFan 95 following WrestleMania. But as you know, both nights of WrestleMania went later than we expected. We somehow managed to get the Night 1 recap in. But MF put it to a vote, and we decided to hold it off until tonight due to work commitments beyond all our controls. So with all that being said, we're here tonight, and we're going to do what we should have done last night. But nonetheless, we're here, and we're going to do it right now. So night 2 of WrestleMania 38, live, of course, from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And, of course, we started off as only you can. The Game, Triple H, comes out to address the crowd, to play up to the crowd one last time. And what else is there to say except what a moment it was? He laid his wrestling boots on the ground to pretty much confirm and that it is indeed the end. And as you know, it was just about a week or so ago that he announced in an interview with Stephen A. Smith that he was retiring from in-ring competition. And what a moment. So it was a WrestleMania moment. Triple H appeared at the Stand and Deliver event, and we'll address that on Wednesday night as part of Wednesday Night Madness. But this moment was all about Triple H, and it was cool to see him looking good after his life-threatening health issues that forced his retirement. So great moment from all of us here. So not much more to say. Let's get into the action of night 2. We started it off triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team Championship. The champions, RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Riddle, defending the titles against the Street Profits and the Alpha Academy. Winners of the match in 11 and a half minutes, and still the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Riddle. Great way to start it off. I mean, high energy three-way bout that featured one member from each team in the ring at the same time. Perfect choice to start the show. Crowd was into it. Competitors were amped up, and the Randy Orton hot tag sparked a phenomenal finishing sequence that concluded with the Viper catching Chad Gable with an RKO mid-flight for the win. The Prophet showed respect to the victors post-match, suggesting the recently teased heel turn will not move forward. Given the lack of depth in the tag division, it is likely for the best that Ford and Dawkins stay fan favorites. Fantastic way to start the show and set the bar for the rest of the broadcast. And Montez Ford's over the corner, tope con hilo, wiped out his opponents, and Gable's moonsault moments later did the same. The Orton hot tag is one of the best things in wrestling today. He was fired up in this one. Gable and Ford running back the monkey flip spot later with the ladder landing on his feet this time was a nice touch. And then Gable interrupting the post-match toast between RK Bro and the Street Profits, along with Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson, who we're going to be seeing a lot of now that we are officially moved on from WrestleMania, and we're now starting the road to WrestleMania Backlash, which is 6 weeks away. And spoiler alert, the three of us are going to be there. And I'm still getting goosies thinking about it because this is going to be the first time. It's a bucket list moment for me. I've never had the honor or the pleasure of attending a live pay-per-view event. That changes Mother's Day night. So these guys, they know the drill. They've done it before, but it's the first for me, and I'm damn sure looking forward to it. So it's going to be a moment for me. So, but anyways, Gable Steveson, two-time NCAA champion, suplexed Gable. So 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. This was a fantastic jump off for WrestleMania 38. So I don't know what else there is to say except MF. The three of us, we had a WrestleMania chat. You came in for the main event of the first one, but last night we did the whole thing, the three of us, and oh boy, did we have fun with this opener.
Yeah, we absolutely did, and it was definitely a fun night for all of us. A great way to start off WrestleMania, and I'll give it a 3.5 star rating as well. This was a solid matchup. This was a good battle, but the problem was there was one other moment, Anthony, that you kind of missed out, and that was Angelo Dawkins going up on the rope. I should say Montez Ford on the top rope and Riddle catching Ford in on top rope with an RKO of his own.
Best one he ever did.
It was picture perfect. It had the place blowing. I remember we all kind of freaked out. We all kind of marked at that moment. And then seconds later, Randy Orton doing Randy Orton and giving us an iconic RKO on Chad Gable that led to the end. And yeah, it was without a doubt a thrilling moment, to say the very least. Yeah, it was incredible. So there's really nothing more to add. This was easily a 3.5 star match. And Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, 3.5 stars for me. I mean, this was definitely a great way to jump off night 2 of WrestleMania, and you couldn't have done it in a pretty much bigger way with this. And yeah, that RKO by Riddle on Montez Ford. I mean, that was just crazy. But then the RKO by Orton on Gable. I mean, that was something really crazy too. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to add to it. So let's move on to the next match.
And MF will start off the next match. But before we do that, we just want to let you know we could be in for a big finish when it comes to the national championship game here tonight.
Oh yeah,
Kansas with a 60-57 lead on North Carolina, 7:02 to go in regulation. It very likely might call for bonus commentary, and if that's the case, then we will talk. I will gladly and graciously turn the mic over to our voice of March Madness, good old MF, aka Screaming Michael Fletcher. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Screaming Michael Fletcher moment tonight with the way this game's been going. So we're waiting.
I mean, just to give on a side note, just to give the fans a little texture, Kansas jumped out early, 7-0. Then North Carolina exploded, went up 15 at half, and all of a sudden now we got to sell the heck of a dogfight for the national championship. So yeah, we'll keep you posted if it does happen. I am ready to go.
All right. So with that being said, MF, you'll be leading off on our next match, and it's only fitting because MF brought out a gorilla-ism for this match last night as we did it on our special video chat, our special Facebook Messenger chat last night, the video room chat thing. Hope the ring was reinforced because it was a be a man fight. It was Omos squaring off against Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley wins the match in 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Wow, MF, when Lashley picked up the win, you screamed out, "He did it!" I'll never forget it. Wow, that was a great call.
Yeah, it was because did anybody honestly think that Lashley was gonna win that match? I don't. Yeah,
we didn't.
no, none of us thought. We all thought that Omos was gonna dominate and squash Lashley and continue his dominance. But sometimes streaks are meant to be broken, and a lot of the times those streaks die at WrestleMania. And here's another one that dies at WrestleMania last night. This was about a 2.5 star match. It could have been a little better. I think it was slow and plotty in certain points, but the thing was, it wasn't a bad match. It was just, we had our certain moments in the certain battles, and at the end of the day, Bobby Lashley got the big moment, got the big win, and now we even said it that maybe this opens for Lashley to possibly get a shot, maybe to try to win back his championship, the championship that technically he never lost. He basically had to relinquish it due to injury, but he never really lost the championship in a fair way. So now here we are, and Lashley gets the win, biggest win of his career, knocking off the previous undefeated Omos. Now we just got to see what happens next. So really nothing more to add. And so Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a 2.5 star match. I mean, it could have been better, but it really wasn't that bad of a match at all. I mean, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I'm sure there was a good amount of people that thought Omos was gonna keep it going, but I mean, you knew. I mean, the Bobby Lashley showed, and he reasserted everyone why he is the Almighty, why he is a former 2-time WWE champion. So that's a message to all those on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Florio, Bobby Lashley showed why he is the Almighty.
He certainly did, and I'll tell you, 2-star match. It was the second worst fight of the night. There was one match that was actually worse than this. The match was mercifully short, and Omos was not asked to do too much. Of course, what he was asked to do, he managed to mess up by sending the Almighty's head into the turnbuckle. Still, Lashley went over to end the big man's dominance in what was the right call. One man is a former world champion. The other is probably not ready to go it alone as a single star. The Lashley suplex spot was cool. Omos driving Lashley into the corner with the latter's head bouncing off the ring post. Scary moment. It was short, which might be the nicest thing that can be said about this bout. So there isn't much more to say on this. All right. Next up, here's a match that we had very low expectations going into it, but boy howdy, did this thing over deliver and then some. Spoiler alert, this was the sleeper fight of the night, by the way. Anything goes match. Sami Zayn versus the leader of the Jackass franchise, Johnny Knoxville. winner of the match in 14 minutes and 25 seconds, Johnny Knoxville wins the match. Michael Bullock, I mean, oh my goodness, the three of us, I mean, during this match last night, we could not believe the things that we saw in this match. And I think the biggest surprise out of anything else, one thing we, honest to God, did not expect to see, they brought out freaking mouse traps, for goodness sakes. A mouse trap table and a giant mouse trap. We saw it all.
And we saw it all, and basically we saw everything else that was used in this match. And I'll give this about three and a half. I mean, going into this, I did not have any. I mean, when this was originally just a one-on-one match, I mean, I was having low expectations on it, but as soon as they made this anything goes, maybe there was a chance that it could be something actually good. And that's what we saw here. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
This was another 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, one of the most fun original matches in WrestleMania history. Featured Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn, and anything goes about. Hijinks ensued, with Zayn punishing Knoxville early before members of the Jackass cast, including Chris Pontius and Wee Man, provided distractions and allowed their leader to get back into the match. Knoxville used a taser, a bowling ball, and a giant mouse trap, among other items, to ultimately pin Sami Zayn before celebrating with his buddies. This match was going to go one of two ways. It was either going to be a cluster bleep of massive proportions that embarrassed everyone involved, or a total blast. And fortunately for us, it was the latter. And both men deserve props for crafting a match that kept the fans invested and entertained throughout. This was a great example of garbage wrestling done at an elite level, and perhaps Sami Zayn's greatest accomplishment in his WWE run. The crutch shot from Zayn to the back of Knoxville was wicked. There was no way to mask the effect of that one. Pontius's cameo and Pat McAfee's excitement over Party Boy's arrival popped the crowd and helped Zayn's eventual assault on him draw greater heat. McAfee exclaimed about Pontius, his cheeks were just starting to get over. And Wee Man's appearance popped the crowd, and his body slam of Sami Zayn. Matter of fact, there was a funny video that came out earlier where they showed the video of Wee Man slamming Sami Zayn, and they dubbed the commentary with Gorilla and Jesse's commentary of Hogan slamming Andre.
Yeah, I saw that.
You believe that?
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe they did that.
Oh yeah.
But nonetheless, I got to give this 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4, just like the opener. I mean, this match, this ended up being the sleeper fight of night 2. And yes, the celebrity may have gone over, but who cares? I mean, boy, howdy. I mean, I never thought I would ever have fun watching a comedy match, because that's basically what this was. It was a comedy match.
Yep.
But this was one of the rare times it actually worked. So, wow. I mean, there's nothing more to say. 3.5, 3 3/4. MF, you know where I'm going with this when I say the spot of the match. Sammy going through that mouse trap covered table that made you go, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, I mean, there was a number of those moments in that match. There was that. There was I don't know what there is to say, guys. We just witnessed one of the, normally with these type of matches, you never know. It's either a hit or miss, and then you never know how this plays out. But the thing was, the crowd was so invested in the match. And the thing is, you had some of the great guys from a Jackass fame. So you had the moments. It was there. It was great. It delivered. At the end of the day, it worked on so many levels. 3.5 is my rating for it. And yeah, could this have been better? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I thought they did very well with it. So no, they nailed it. They did an incredible job. And Yeah, I mean, for it to be a funny, ha ha showcase type thing, and the thing was going into it, we were saying the same thing. We were thinking worst fight of the night. The minute they opened up and said, "No, let's do this as a anything goes, no holds barred," I even said it. That opened the Pandora's box. Anything can happen now, and sure enough, we saw it. So it was incredible. They nailed it. Home run for WWE, and major props to these guys for what they did here tonight or what they did last night.
Absolutely. So with that, and we move on to the Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. The champions, Carmella and Queen Zelina, defending against Sasha Banks and Naomi, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler and Natalya. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 50 seconds, and new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Rejoice, MF. The Women's Tag Team titles are now exclusive to SmackDown. Once again, another SmackDown moment. Sasha Banks and Naomi win the titles. 1050. 3 stars. 3 teetering on 3.25. It was a spotty contest with almost too much going on for its own good. Saw Sasha and Naomi use tandem offense to score the pinfall on Carmella to win the titles. The effort was there. All 8 women were highlighted well. But with so many competitors looking to get their stuff in, the match consisted more of spots and flashy sequences than any easily tracked narrative. One of the 2 babyface teams had to win here. And given the fact that Sasha Banks had competed at 6 WrestleManias without a win, this was as good a time as any to right that wrong. The Boss and Naomi are a dynamic team and will hopefully inspire the creative team to take these women's tag team titles seriously. And Corey Graves and Byron Saxton put over the previous partnership between Sasha and Naomi during their time with Team Bad, establishing a history that did not exist among the other teams. Stereo Tope Suicidas from Liv Morgan and Sasha Banks were a nice way to bring energy and pop the crowd early. The double Tower of Doom spot was sweet, brought the crowd back into the match. And the look of disbelief on Corey Graves' face after a near fall from his fiancée Carmella was amusing. So that's really all there is to say on that. So 3 teetering on 3.25 for this effort. Congratulations to I guess we could call it the Boston Glow connection. Sasha, I believe this is her 3rd or 4th reign as a women's tag team champion.
3rd reign as women's tag.
3rd reign. But for Naomi, it's her 1st. And after everything that she's been through, all that BS with Sonya Deville and the whole 9, it was nice to see Naomi finally get a championship moment. Her 1st in 5 years. She won the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania 33 in her hometown of Orlando when she tapped out Alexa Bliss and held it for about 4 months before losing it to Natalya at SummerSlam. And she's had opportunities. You know, she had that early match of the year candidate with Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title on that SmackDown a couple months ago, but it wasn't to be. But I'm glad to see Naomi holding the title again. Long overdue for her, too. So, not much more to say here. 3.25. MF, I mean, what else is there to say, man? For the 3rd time, it started with the Iconics at 35, Bliss and Cross at 36, and now Banks and Naomi at 38 bring the women's tag team titles back home to Team Blue. And I know in the immortal words of Gorilla, and you said it, oh, I love it.
Yeah, incredible moment, incredible victory. History being made, and yeah, it was an incredible victory here, to say the very least. So yeah, hats off to the champions, hats off to the brand new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, as it was and it was an incredible match. 3 stars is my rating for it. It had its moments where it was sloppy, but yeah, you had the Tower of Doom moment. You had a lot of other great moments there, and there's really nothing more to add. It was a great moment. It was a great title victory, and like I said last night on the telecast, history was indeed made. I got to do my famous gorilla moment, and by saying it was an unprecedented crowning, and it was indeed. So incredible match to say the very least, and yeah, there's really nothing more to add here. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours as we have new tag champs.
Yes, 3 stars for me. I mean, it could have been better, but I still enjoyed it, and yeah, I'm with you guys on this one. Good for Naomi after all the BS with the whole Sonya
We got
Deville
a big
nonsense.
hold on. We got a big finish here. MF. Here we go.
Oh. All right, you guys, mute your mics. We're down to 30 seconds left in the national championship game. They try to throw it inside, down low, looking, jumper. God! 72, 69, with 20 seconds remaining. North Carolina brings it up court. Now looking, three-pointer, deep three. No, rebound by rebound by North Carolina. With 9, 8 seconds, there's a three. That's short. And it's a turnover. Kansas gets the ball with 4.2 remaining. Unbelievable.
Woo.
It was Womack who got the shot that gave it a 3-point lead. And that could be the bucket. There's the turnover. And it could be Raw Jaw Championship in about 4.2.
While we wait for that,
Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence is celebrating, sensing a national championship.
All right, we have a timeout. Michael Bullock, finish your thought on the women's tag match real quick, and then we'll send it back to MF for the close.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this was a good match here. So I'm not gonna hold on. I'm not gonna waste too much time. I mean, because I think we're due back from the timeout soon. So 3 stars is my rating. So Florio, I think we're just gonna wait on this and.
Yeah. So all right, so we're ready for that match. We'll get into our next match in just a moment. But for all intents and purposes, barring something out of the ordinary here, it looks like the Kansas Jayhawks are about to win their first national championship since 2008 when they knocked off Memphis.
It will be their 3rd overall, too, because remember, Danny and the Miracles back in 1980 or 1988.
And Danny Manning's there.
And Danny Manning is there.
And this was a game that I call personally, MF, the Roy Williams Bowl.
Yeah.
Because Hubert Davis and Bill Self both succeeded Roy Williams.
Yep.
So we're about to finish it off here. And now I give you once again the voice of March Madness, good old MF, Screaming Michael Fletch. It's all yours, babe.
With 4.6 remaining, they got to inbound it. And then you got to expect North Carolina for the foul. And then from there, you're thinking 2 free throws. And that should clinch. Or it'll be a 1-1 because there is no foul situation. So
wait a minute. I think Kansas might have turned that over.
And he tries to throw. Oh, wait. Hold. Did he? Is it?
He might have stepped out.
He might have
stepped out.
He is. Nope. Good there. Good. Oh, wait. On the line.
Right there.
Oh, boy. That could be very interesting. They're going to have to go to the monitor for this one. But it also depends on how much time was left because.
Right, Gene. We see this right here, and one of the officials over there reviewing.
And that right there, and that angle right there looked like he might have stepped out.
So
if he stepped out, that gives Carolina the ball back.
That gives Carolina at 4.6 because no time was off the clock when that happened. And then but he's on the line. He's technically on the line. He's not out of the line. He's on the line. I don't know. So that's very interesting.
Unless he's over the line, I say it's still Kansas possession.
Well, you got to make sure here. This is a humongous call. This could change everything because Carolina would be down by 3 if they get because you got to reset the clock no matter what. So you can reset the clock. It would go back to 4.6, and Carolina would have possession. 1-3 ties the game and sends this to overtime. Or if they miss it, then Kansas wins the national championship.
I'm telling you, one coach is going to be upset.
What a game so far. It's been a game of runs, starting with a big run by Kansas, jumping out 7-0. Then Carolina climbed back, got to the lead, and now they're saying that it's Carolina ball at 4.3 left. Boy. 4.3 left. Carolina wins possession. A 3 will tie it.
Oh, we're going to get a screaming Michael Fletcher moment regardless.
So here we go. They're going to try to set this up.
But North Carolina just called the timeout.
Well, that's their last timeout. So they're going to get an extra time to think about this. So I don't know if this is going to be a 30-second or a full minute, but Carolina called their final timeout. They got none left. 4.3 left in the national championship game. Kansas up by 3. Carolina has to be thinking 3. If they get it, we're probably going to overtime. If they try to go for it and miss, then Kansas is walking out with the championship.
And it would remain, and the national championship trophy would remain in the Big 12 conference.
Yes, it will.
Remember, Baylor won it
last year. And, of course, Carolina trying to win it back since Virginia won it.
The redemption year.
After their redemption year.
2019.
Virginia was the last team to win it for the ACC. All right, guys, mute your mics.
There it is.
Mute your mics.
Yep.
Mute it. Floyo. All right, here we go. They're looking, setting it up. Here we go. 4.3. Looking, found a man. Looking, drives, dribbles, shot for the tie. No, it's off. And it's over. The Kansas Jayhawks are the national champions.
For the first time since 2008, the Kansas Jayhawks are national champions, and the national championship trophy stays in the Big 12 conference. Baylor last year, Kansas keeps the title within the conference.
Unbelievable game, unbelievable shot. They had a look, but it was not close. It was an air ball. The confetti flies, the celebration. Bill Self and the Raw Jock Jayhawks will be cutting down some nets tonight. They get the trophy. They are the national champions for the 3rd time in their school's history.
Not even close. Oofa. Airball.
Unbelievable
Oh,
ending.
it might have been blocked or tipped. Well, it might have gotten a little rim, but
Here it comes. Here's the shot. Yeah, it looks like they got tipped a little, but not even close. Just short of the bucket.
Yeesh.
And the celebration is on. Kansas wins the national championship of college basketball. They are the kings of March Madness for 2022. What a final. What a game. One for the ages. Heartbreak for North Carolina. What a run they had. One of the hottest teams to come out. And a number 1 seed wins the national championship. Kansas, basically the most underrated number 1. Nobody really thought they were going to win at all. Many people didn't even have them going to the Final Four. Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence is celebrating, and they're going to have themselves one heck of a party as they are the national champions of college basketball. What a game. What a finale. Anthony Floyo, back to you on the WrestleMania recap.
What a tournament. I mean, it was the first tournament in front of real fans for the first time in 3 years after having no tournament at all in 2020 because of the COVID pandemic just starting at that moment. Last year in the bubble in Indiana and with little to no fans. But this year, March Madness back to normal. What a climax. Congratulations, Kansas, defeating 3 Big East teams and 2 ACC teams to get it done. So congratulations. That's all there is to it. I mean, Creighton, PC, Villanova out of the Big East. And it was Miami and North Carolina out of the ACC. And I don't know who they beat in the first round and which conference they came from, some mid-major, but what a moment. All right. We'll have more on this Thursday night when we return with TXN Sports World. We didn't have a show last week, obviously, to get ready for WrestleMania. So, all right. So with all that, great job as always, MF, and that's why you will forever be the voice of March Madness and Screaming Michael Fletcher. That was great. So, all right. Moving on to our next match. Oh, this was the entrance we were all waiting for. The dream match. The rated R superstar, WWE Hall of Famer Edge, squaring off against the phenomenal AJ Styles. Winner of the match in 24 minutes and 5 seconds. The rated R superstar Edge. He wins it via a temporary distraction by Damian Priest. And we'll address that more when we get to our Monday Night Raw recap. But nonetheless, Edge wins the match, 24 minutes, 5 seconds. MF, simple question. Did this dream match live up to the hype?
In the wrestling aspect, yes, it did. It was very good wrestling, very good action. It was an amazing battle. The one negative I have to say, what was up with the fans in Dallas? They were majoritarily sitting on their hands on this match. Now, there was some slow moments. There was some slow, not so great moments in the match. But to me, I was thoroughly disappointed with this match. And it was really because of the fans. So I hate to do this. 3 stars. And the thing is, the match was amazing. The body of work was awesome. But the fans really sucked the life out of the match. And I hate to say it, but there was a few moments where I was just watching it and it was solid, it was good, but I never was wowed. If the crowd would have been in it, like they were for most of the night, then obviously the rating would be higher. But I kind of felt like there was a disconnect, and I don't know why. It felt like the crowd really disconnected with us, and it was a damn shame because It was a very good match. It was solid for what it was worth, but I can only get this 3. And I'm very disappointed with this because it's no fault to the wrestlers, but if you're talking the overall presentation, the work and everything, especially in the match at WrestleMania, I was thoroughly disappointed. I think it underwhelmed more than anything else, and it's not them. I'm gonna call it right now. Anybody's like, "Oh, Mike, you're being horrible on Edge." No. I'm not being horrible on Edge and AJ Styles. They went out there and they produced. It was a very good performance by them, but the fans just stunk with this match, and rightfully, I need to call them out on it. So that's why you got the reaction that I'm giving. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with Fletch on this one. I mean, 3 stars for me. And I can't blame it on Edge and AJ Styles. They gave it all they had in the ring. It was the fans that literally sucked the air out of the match. They were sitting on their hands. It's like they didn't give two whats about this match. And it's a damn shame. And they literally killed this match. What is wrong with you, Dallas people? I mean, this was a dream match. Yes, there were times it was slow, but they were entertaining you. And this is the reaction you give them? No. The match was good, but because of the way the fans literally sucked the air out of this match, I was very disappointed in it, and it didn't. And I'm sorry to say it, but it did not live up to the hype. I'm sorry. I'm just calling it the way I see it. So, 3 stars. Florio, go.
I'm going to take it further down. 2.5. I mean, that was horrible.
Damn. Wow.
I could go further, but I'm not going to do that. So
yeah, tell us how you really feel, Florio.
One word for you, Dallas fans. Ungrateful. These 2 individuals, who are 2 of the greatest of our generation, 2 former Grand Slam champions. And that's what you do? If the 3 of us were there, we would have been into this the whole time. We were into this during our chat last night. And then you go and give us a snoozer like that? Shame on you. Shame on you. That's all there is to say on that. Lengthy contest that started slow, but built to its false finishes and high spots. Damian Priest, we all know, the former U.S. champion, popped up at ringside, momentarily preventing Styles from delivering the phenomenal forearm. Edge capitalized, got the win. Was this a match of the year candidate? Was this the match of the year candidate that we all expected it to be? Absolutely not. But it was still a strong bout full of great in-ring psychology. Styles sold like a champ for Edge's arm work, while the Rated R superstar put over the phenomenal one's late burst perfectly. Priest's involvement sets up a potential star-making partnership with Edge, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. Most importantly, the finish suggests the feud with Styles will continue, giving them ample opportunity to improve upon this match. And I want to suggest something to you, WWE. We want a rematch. We don't want it on a Raw. We want it next month at WrestleMania Backlash. You give this to us at WrestleMania Backlash, I guarantee you, unlike those ungrateful Dallas fans, we're going to be into this hook, line, and sinker. You better believe it. And if we have to lead the damn charge,
and we'll show you, Dallas fans, how real wrestling fans get into a good match like this.
You may have been burned out. I can certainly understand it because it was because
No
we had
excuse for it, Mario. No excuse.
no. You may have been burned out, whatever. But that's still no excuse. I mean, and don't give me this, oh, we're exhausted BS. No, absolutely not. We're
As
not
far as
doing
I'm concerned,
Oh,
you
trust
guys
me,
you
they
guys
got
can take
burned.
your cowboy hats and stick it up your
Whoa,
Yeah.
easy, Bullock.
Okay.
I was gonna say here that trust me, they were not burned out because if we get into, I think the next match, they were invested in that one more than this one. That's why we had a problem. But we'll get into that in just a minute. So go ahead,
Yeah.
Flair.
But all I say is book this match. We want a rematch. Give it to us next month. We'll show you how it's done. That's all there is to it. Because we'll all be all over this. And it's in a smaller arena, Dunkin' Donuts Center, not 78,453. We're looking at about a good 15 to 20 in our neck of the woods. Oh, yeah, we'll have fun with it. They always roll out the red carpet for us anyway. So, but there were some notable moments here, rather. Edge's entrance was superb. He looked like a total badass as he emerged from flames and sat on a throne with his latest Alter Bridge theme accompanying him. Great stuff. Styles appeared to pop his left shoulder back in place, putting over the work Edge had done on it to that point. The suplex onto the ring apron was scary, but both guys appeared to be okay. And the false finish off the Styles Clash, one of the few bright spots of the match. So 3 stars, that's a little too generous, gentlemen. 2.5, that's the correct rating for this match. Sorry. So, all right. Then we had, all right, this is the worst fight of the night, and I know we're all going to be in agreement on this. This match was originally supposed to be on night 1, but it got bumped to night 2 because of time constraints. New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods against Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Sheamus and Ridge Holland win the match in 1 minute and 40 seconds. And they seriously couldn't find time for this match on the previous night's show. You couldn't just do that if you're going to make it that short. All 4 of those guys got a damn raw deal. And the New Day coming out in that Big E attire to pay respect to their buddy and their brother after what he's been through. Ugh. I think we're all in agreement on this one, gentlemen. Dud. That's all there is to say on that. And spoiler alert, that's not the first time we're going to be saying that. So the only notable moments here were Kofi and Xavier's tribute to Big E with the ring gear, inspired by his WWE Championship win last September, was very nice. A nice moment there. And Sheamus carrying Pete Dunne away from the action, preventing his involvement in a DQ, helped put over the tenacity of that newcomer. And horrible. So there's really nothing more to say. We're not even going to bother with that. We're going to bypass that easily. But we are going to get into this, though. A rare 2-for-1 deal here. First, there was the match that we expected. Pat McAfee, MF's boy for the brand, squaring off against Austin Theory. Winner of the match, 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Pat McAfee, in my heel commentator opinion, pulling the tights and getting the win. But wait, there was more. Pat McAfee had that bravado. You know how hyped this guy is, and that's why MF loves him so much. But it was a classic case of more guts than brains, because he picked a fight with the boss, Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon beats Pat McAfee in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. But after the match, Stone Cold Steve Austin shows up. Wow. And then he stuns Austin Theory. Did you see how he sold that thing? Wow. But then he hits the stunner on Vince, and honestly, that was a botch. That was a dipsy-do botcheroo. There's no question about it. And then he stuns Pat McAfee for flavor content. So with all that, Michael Bullock, Pat McAfee got his WrestleMania moment. He got his win. But then the boss spoiled it. And oh boy, did I play it up on heel commentary with you guys last night. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, that was. I'm not really going to get into the whole Vince and Pat McAfee match because that to me was that pretty much was left to be desired. But this match here was definitely a 2.5 to 3-star match. I mean, Pat McAfee continues to show why he's not to be taken lightly because he's proven that he is a pretty good wrestler for the times that we've seen him. So, yeah, and then, of course, Stone Cold basically stunning Austin Theory, and, yeah, that was a little botcheroo there with the Vince stunner, so, but then getting Pat McAfee and just when it looked like they were going to have a nice little drink together, but that's not the case, so, nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
You guys remember, and MF, you especially, I went on the record, and I'm going to pull a Jesse from WrestleMania 5 here. I went on the record, and I said that this was going to be the sleeper matchup right here. And sure enough, it was. For McAfee and Theory, 3 to 3.25 stars. That's definitely the appropriate rating for this match. Raw athleticism from McAfee and solid heel work from Theory combined to make for a fun bout that exceeded expectations. Theory's ego proved costly as he tried for A-Town down, only for McAfee to roll him up. And yes, even my notes here confirm it. Grab a handful of tights and go back and watch it. It looked like he had a handful of tights. I was just kidding. I was just having fun with you guys, but it looked like he really did pull the tights and get the win. You guys got to go back and look at it. But
I know the hand was on the backside. I don't think he grabbed it. I think he just had his hands on the tights. I don't think he grabbed it, Florio. But then again, it is what it is.
We'll be the judge of that. But it was not an instance like earlier in the night where Sami Zayn was instrumental in the overall success of his match with Johnny Knoxville. Pat McAfee held his own, performed up to the moment, and should be allowed back in the ring whenever the opportunity presents itself. And the post-match, which saw an impromptu bout between McAfee and Mr. McMahon, threatened to undo everything accomplished by the first match, though. The WWE chairman made the former NFL kicker look like a geek before earning a win. It usually takes Vinnie Mac a good 2 or 3 weeks to damage the hottest act in the company, so this was an unimpressive turnaround. Stone Cold made the save, delivered the ugliest stunner of all time to Vince, and added another to McAfee before standing tall. But anyways, I mean, what else is there to say? 3 to 3.25 for McAfee in Theory. McMahon and McAfee, that was a dud. Sorry to say. But Pat McAfee joining commentary as he beat down Theory was a great moment and a callback to something The Rock used to do at the height of the Attitude Era. McAfee leaping to the top rope and delivering a superplex was a fantastic spot. Theory selling the Stone Cold Stunner was right out of The Rock's playbook and was superb. And McAfee, still smarting after the stunner, was still caught enjoying a beer in a fun spot. So, yeah, Bullock's heading out, so I'm not surprised by that. So, MF and I will take you the rest of the way, so including Raw. So, not much more to say here. 3 to 3.25 for McAfee versus Theory, but McAfee and McMahon, that was a dud. I'm sorry. Yeah. So there isn't much more to say, but nonetheless, MF, I mean, take away the Vince thing. I mean, I understand. I know the bravado that he has, and I get it. I know how hyped he gets, and I know that's why you love him. But if he obviously must have taken the Undertaker's advice from his epic Hall of Fame speech. He said, "Never be content." I guess he wasn't content enough with being with Theory. If it was me, I would have been content. WrestleMania moment, but nonetheless, but your boy MF though, but still, regardless, your boy still did it for the brand.
Yeah, I mean, I remember doing that commentary moment when they did win that match. It was an epic moment. It was a historic moment. It was a great win for Pat McAfee. You can't take that away from him. He is now forever a winner at WrestleMania. He definitely gets the WrestleMania moment, a big win for him. But like you said, I mean, it was a little bit of a shocker. I think we all thought that, maybe they get, this grand moment and everything else, and unfortunately it didn't. It turned out to be a lot more different than it did, but at the end of the day, it was thrilling. It was a very good matchup and everything else. Pat deserved this moment, for all the negativity, for all the horribleness that was being thrown around leading up to that moment. Yeah, so they did it. He won it, and now Pat McAfee gets a WrestleMania moment that he's gonna remember forever. And now it's just all about what's next. And the what's next is now the mere fact that they are one of the best. So McAfee wins. And, like you said, the McMahon thing, yeah, I'm not going to go too much about it. I think it was definitely very disappointing, to say the very least. I think it could have been a lot more better, but, it is what it is. Nothing more to add. But now the big factor is what happens to Pat now that he is the winner, and more importantly, winning the whole thing and being the champion. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But other than that, Anthony, it's yours. So I think there was only one match left.
The biggest main event in WrestleMania history closes this out. Winner take all, unification to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. The Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, with Paul Heyman and the Usos squaring off against WWE Champion Brock Lesnar. Winner of the match in 12 minutes and 15 seconds. And the unified, undisputed Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. Wow. 3.25 to 3.5 is my rating for this. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, I'll say it like this. The biggest WrestleMania match of all time. I still think that tagline was a little over the top, honestly. And it showed why here. It may have pitted the two biggest stars in sports entertainment against one another with both of these world titles on the line. But for me, it did not quite live up to the billing. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar delivered the heavy-hitting battle you would hope for, but the suddenness of the finish, preceded by an ugly spear spot, put a damper on the proceedings. The Tribal Chief escaping the F5 and delivering a spear to win, seemingly out of nowhere, felt anticlimactic. It was almost like what he did against Ambrose Moxley at the Survivor Series in 2015 in that tournament final. It kind of felt like that, honestly. The feud, the competitors, and the audience deserve something a bit more definitive than that. If there is a silver lining, it is that the right guy went over. And Roman Reigns finally has his true defining WrestleMania moment, something he and WWE have chased for years. Lesnar starting the match with his gloves off was a nice callback to the WrestleMania 31 main event with these two. Heyman begging Lesnar to take him back was exactly what you expect from his slimy heel persona. Beast Incarnate laughed off Reigns' Superman punches unfazed by the Universal Champion's signature strike. Cole and Graves covering for a botched spear spot by suggesting Reigns was targeting the kidneys and lower back of Lesnar was a great touch from two pros on the headset. And Reigns celebrating with both titles as pyro exploded both in and out of the stadium was the end visual that this show needed. I would probably give this about maybe 3.25 to 3.5 for the effort. So, MF, it may not have been the epic match we were all expecting, But nonetheless, the Tribal Chief does it again. He reigns supreme, leaving us no choice but to truly acknowledge him.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only get us about 2.5 to 3, and during the match, Roman got legitly hurt. I think you noticed, especially after he got the Kimura from Brock Lesnar, you noticed that Roman was favoring the arm. Even when he was holding the belts, you could tell he actually couldn't get one of the arms to fully extend all the way up over his head for with the belt. I mean, he really had a bad. He was really looking bad. And if you notice that after he did win it, they had there's photos now that shows that there was like a big knot or a big there was like a big red knot on Roman's shoulder. So he definitely looked like he was in bad shape after the main event. For the hype and everything, it definitely underdelivered. It was underwhelming, to say the very least, even though the outcome was never in doubt because we all had Roman winning it. It was somewhat of a disappointment. I wish we could have been better, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. But Roman, once again, proves to be the tribal chief, and yes, indeed, we acknowledge him as that. So, nothing more to say, Anthony. It's yours.
I believe we now go into our overall review. So, MF, night 2 of WrestleMania.
7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for me. I thought it was a very solid WrestleMania night 2 as a whole. For the 2-night event, WWE needed this. This is what they needed. They needed a good WrestleMania, and as a matter of fact, I gotta say it delivered. I think under this new 2-night format, this was probably the best WrestleMania of the 2-night format.
Yes.
It's better than, when 36, I think it was 37, no, 36 was the first time they did it. I thought it was better than that. I thought it was light years better than last year's WrestleMania that was in Tampa. I think all in all, they did a very good job with it. Night 1, I believe, was better than night 2. Just personal thought on that.
Agreed.
But I will say that as a 2-night whole, combining everything, including for WrestleMania, this was a successful event. This was a very good WrestleMania. Like I said, the best WrestleMania under the 2-night format. So this was the best. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this was the greatest of all." No,
Absolutely
not absolutely not. As a matter of fact, it's not even in my top 5. It's not even in my top 10 for greatest WrestleManias of all time. So no, I mean, this was all right. This was definitely middle of the pack. I think it's better than some of the worst WrestleManias, but it's not better than some of the greatest. Absolutely not. I say it's outside of my top 10. I could sorry say in the 11 to 15 range. I'll give you that. But as far as, WrestleManias go, and I will openly admit, this was one of the better WrestleManias we've had in recent years. I'll give you that. But as far as like being, grateful what it's worth, WWE needed a good WrestleMania. Because if this would have failed, if they would have bombed out on this WrestleMania, man, I think we would be talking about WWE's demise. Honestly. Because of with AEW, with Ring of Honor starting to turn their tables around now that Tony Khan's running that company, with the momentum starting to shift a little bit, WWE needed a good WrestleMania, and they got it. So they definitely are going to survive and definitely live on for a little while longer. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, night 2 was not as good. Some good stuff on here. Most of the stuff there was fine. Edge versus AJ Styles, strong but disappointing match. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville, Pat McAfee, Austin Theory, and the Raw tag title matches were all a lot of fun. As for Vince coming back, that whole bit was total ass awful. Good WrestleMania overall. It was definitely held back by night 2 for sure, but we still enjoyed the 2 nights overall. Night 1 was a strong show. Almost great. I mean, to be honest, there was a lot of good there. The standouts for night 1, obviously, the Raw Women's title match, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and the main event was a lot of fun. Even the undercard for night 1 was solid overall, but night 2 killed it. I'm within that 7 range myself, and overall it would be like a 7.5 altogether for both nights. But that's really all there is to say on that. We're going to quickly get into Monday Night Raw here for tonight. From the American Airlines Center, Dallas, Texas, the infamous Raw after WrestleMania. And we started it off with a promo segment, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes starting the show. And I got to say, this was the segment of the night for me. Regardless of whether the feud with Seth Rollins continues or not, this was a fantastic promo and an awesome way to open the post-Mania edition of Raw. Cody said exactly what he needed to say. Crowd ate up every second of it. And WWE's version of the Cody Vader, not quite as well hidden as it was in AEW, but it still made for a cool visual to re-debut him on Raw. Cody being genuinely emotional was such a nice moment to witness. Calling himself the quote-unquote star that left them in the dust was hilarious. Obviously a shot at the Stardust character. And Cody's promo was one of the most genuine and emotional speeches we have seen in a WWE ring in years. But what really stood out to me was, talking about Dusty Rhodes, his father. September the 26th of 77 in Madison Square Garden, showing a photo of Dusty holding an old version. I believe it was of the then WWF Championship that he said was on his parents' mantle for many years, and told the story about Dusty telling him how he never actually won the title because he was screwed out of it. And that's when Cody started crying, and he said he never got to win the WWE title while his father was alive, but he could certainly still win it. So that was definitely the standout to me. This was the segment of the night. And MF, I mean, it looks like there may be some unfinished business with Seth Rollins, even though they had a handshake moment. I don't know if that's going to mean I don't know if we're going to get a rematch or WrestleMania Backlash or not, but I believe in the near future, we just may be. Although I'm hearing early reports that Drew McIntyre could be Roman's first challenger, but let's not rule out Cody Rhodes. And I believe Cody Rhodes, with the way he's coming in and with the deal that he signed, I think Cody Rhodes could possibly get that world title moment that he didn't get before.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we're hoping, we're absolutely hoping and praying for the best, but you just don't know how it's going to play out. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was incredible. This was what it needed it to be. The way that they talked, the way that he cut it that promo, it felt authentic. It felt real. It felt amazing. To me, I thought they really nailed it. And it was one of those type of moments that you just was like, oh my goodness. You felt the raw emotion. You felt the rawness and the realness. It felt authentic. There's really nothing more to add. I think it was just the way that they cut it, the way that he talked and spoke. It was soft spoken. It was, you just felt it. It was an open mic. It was him just pouring his heart out. And he talked about his dad as a hero. I mean, that's as good as you're going to get. That's as amazing as it's going to be. To me, Cody did amazing. Cody was awesome. Seth coming out, shaking the hand. That was a nice little. Moment there. We don't know if that means that maybe there's a rematch. Maybe that's just mutual respect. You don't know. Even Cody kind of looked at it like, But I thought they did a great job with it. So, Anthony, it's yours.
100% agree. All right, MF, you'll be leading off on our first match of the night. A championship contenders match. The new women's tag team champions, Sasha Banks and Naomi, squaring off against Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Winners of the match in an even 9 minutes. It was Sasha Banks and Naomi. But wait, hold on. Hold the phone here. After the match, you notice that Rhea, visibly frustrated, walked out. Definitely with a look of frustration on her face. But then, later on in the show, in a backstage moment, Liv Morgan confronted Rhea Ripley, and Rhea's like, "I didn't walk out. I only walked out because I went to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and I convinced them to give us a shot at the tag team title. So we're gonna get it next Monday night on Raw at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Ripley and Liv Morgan will challenge Sasha Banks and Naomi for Sasha and Naomi's first defense of their newly won women's tag team championship. But MF, I think the champions are going to stay the champions. And I also think, and I heard a rumor about this, you know that new stable with Edge and Damian Priest?
Oh, yeah. I heard about it, too.
Rhea Ripley might be a future member of that stable. And I think we saw a slow planting of the seeds. But I think tonight we get the heel turn. I should say next week.
Next week I think we're gonna get the heel turn. There's no doubt about it. And look, I gotta say it's gonna be a tough thing. Poor Liv is all I'm gonna say about that. At the end of the day, yeah, it was a solid segment. I thought they did a really good job with it. This was a solid match. I could probably say this was about. You could probably talk about this being about almost. You could say about maybe 2.5, close to 3. I thought they did a really good job with it, and it was still a solid match. It was still solid work, and at the end of the day, I think they got the right person. They got the right team. Naomi and Sasha just started their reign. You don't want to have them lose the first night out after winning the titles at WrestleMania. That would have been a major disservice. And you also want to keep the belts credible. And that's exactly what it was. So you keep the belts credible. You keep the things nice and amazing. And there's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, it's yours.
I'm going to give it 2.5 to 3. Ripley, decent match that allowed all 4 superstars to get in some of their signature moves, but there was a strange pacing issue at one point. The biggest strength of this bout was how both duos used some creative double team moves. As good as Naomi and Ripley were together, Banks and Morgan stood out for having the best chemistry as opponents. This match wasn't over the top or exceedingly memorable, but it delivered some fun to get the action going. The one visual that comes out of this, MF, the one notable moment that came out of this for me, Rhea Ripley holding Naomi in that delayed vertical for almost 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I think that was a nice
very impressive. Very impressive show of strength.
I don't think Davey Boy even did that. I never recalled Davey Boy doing that. So, the man who made that move famous, the delayed vertical, that was none other than 2020 Hall of Famer, the late great British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. So he made that move what it is today. So, all right. Then we had The Miz versus Dominic Mysterio. Miz wins the match, 30 seconds. Obviously no rating to a dud on that. But what happened after the match, though? They've been teasing it for weeks and weeks and months and months and months. We finally got the payoff. Veer Mahan is on Raw. And next week, MF, Veer Mahan his first match against future Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but Veer kind of started it. Came out. We didn't know what we were going to look for. Oh, we knew his intentions known very quickly. What he did, taking out both Dominic and Ray, and then put Dominic in that interesting submission maneuver. I mean, oh my God,
Oof.
is all I can say about that. Yeah, you know what? If there's one way to get some nuclear heat, yeah, go after the Mysterios. You definitely would get that. So yeah, nothing more to say. Obviously, the match was a dud, and Veer. I mean, that's a pretty good way to welcome yourself to WWE.
Yeah, Miz and Dom, definitely the worst fight of the night. 30 seconds, that's all they get. After all the time they got with Ray and Logan Paul the other night. Oy. And then we had another new champion, the new Raw Women's Champion, the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair, and cutting the traditional new champion victory promo, and the whole nine on that. But did you see? But MF, did you see the shiner on Bianca's eye? Wow. Your old girl Becky, man. Oof. She got her good.
Yeah, she did.
That's all there is to say. The promo was uninterrupted and allowed Bianca to talk for a couple of minutes without having to worry about a storyline. Nice speech. So, a solid promo, a solid new champion victory promo for Bianca. Possibly a rematch at WrestleMania Backlash. I mean, hey, we got to see them in Providence back in November, so we wouldn't mind it again. Absolutely not, because that was a good match too. But the Mania match was hands down their best. So, all right, here we go. It's a shame that Bullet couldn't hang with us, but I'll give you his sentiments in just a moment, because it was a return match from Stand and Deliver, which again we will be reviewing on Wednesday night on Wednesday Night Madness. Is that correct, MF?
Yes, we are.
All right. Just wanted to be sure on that, of course. This past Saturday, NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. The main event obviously was Dolph Ziggler and Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship. We all thought Breaker was going to win. No, Dolph Ziggler successfully defends. We'll talk about that match on Wednesday, but we're going to talk about this match right here. Return match for the NXT Championship. Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker. Winner of the match in 10 minutes and 45 seconds. And new, once again, NXT champion Braun Breaker wins the title, regains the title that he technically did not lose at the Roadblock NXT 2.0 last month. It was Ziggler getting over on Tommaso Ciampa. So, I think I start this one off. So, 3 to 3 1/4. What else is there to say? I mean, Ziggler went over on so Braun was looking to make sure this one had a different result, and as expected, Ziggler and Breaker put on another fun encounter. Their match from this weekend had the benefit of being commercial free, so it's tough to say which one was better from start to finish. After the same dirty tactics Ziggler used to retain on Saturday failed him in this bout, Breaker drilled him with a spear and hit a big power slam to get the win and regain the NXT Championship. Breaker has the kind of explosive speed and power you just can't teach. Brock Lesnar has something similar. Ziggler's dropkick has to be among the top 5 in pro wrestling history. It always looks like he nails his opponent right in the face as hard as he can. And Breaker with the tope con hilo to take out Robert Roode. What a spot. Who would have thought a man his size could hit a tope con hilo? Unbelievable. And obviously the idea was for Breaker to lose on Saturday so that he could win the title in front of the bigger Raw viewing audience tonight. Definitely logical. But the crowd again. They weren't nearly as hot for this match as the crowd was for Stand and Deliver. But it was still a good match. I'll give it 3 to 3 1/4 stars. And all I can say is, MF, during our Raw chat tonight, myself and Bullock, all I can say is Michael Bullock is more than pleased and delighted with this outcome because Braun Breaker has brought the NXT Championship back home where it belongs. New champion, Monsoon, you know what to do.
Yeah, history was indeed made, and yeah, it was a great moment for him. Crowning of a new champion, always great to see happen. And look, at the end of the day, I think we can just witness that, yeah, when you have a crowning of a new champion, it's always awesome. I did not honestly think, when Braun lost on Stand and Deliver, I think we all were kind of thinking, oh man, how was that the last opportunity? Was that the last best chance for him to
Now
get the
what?
get the yeah? Now what? Is that the last chance for him to get the belt back? But no, they literally pulled the proverbial rug. Say, you know what? We're gonna give him one more chance. 48 hours later, and sure enough, he walks away with the championship. So, and Michael Bullock, your long suffering nightmare is now over. The NXT title is back on the black and gold brand, or I guess you could say the rainbow colors, whatever the heck you want to call that nowadays. But for me, he's a deserving champion. So, we had to wait an extra couple of nights, and he gets the big moment. Fans were indeed sitting on their hands. I think this is more of a Raw crowd than an NXT crowd, which is a little disappointing. But at the end of the day, they did make history, and we did witness a new champion. So, I mean, you do get the ultimate payoff. So, Anthony, back to you.
Okay. And then we had MVP back, and he introduced Bobby Lashley, interrupted by Omos. But MF, we had a double cross.
Mm-hmm.
MVP turning his back on Bobby Lashley, and now MVP, he's got a new client now. It's Omos, and all I can say is Omos will most certainly benefit having MVP with MVP now being his mouthpiece. What a mouthpiece he's got now.
Yeah, he's gonna have a major player now. And as a matter of fact, it's gonna be even better for Omos because remember, when Omos was the mouthpiece, when he had to be the mouthpiece prior, back then, yeah, it's gonna turn a lot of great things for Omos. Now you can see that remember when he was with Bobby Lashley was WWE champion. Remember that. He actually, had success with him. He had success with the Hurt Business, with Sheldon, and with Cedric Alexander. I would probably say, and to be very honest with you, definitely in no time, I think we could see the big Omos walking out a champion someday down the line. So, at the end of the day, this was definitely a solid way to close. This was a solid segment. Plus, it also puts a lot of sympathy to Bobby Lashley because now you're thinking, you know, Bobby did all this and he did it on his own. Remember, he did not have MVP when he fought Omos at WrestleMania and he shocked the world. So obviously, this now propels Bobby to be, a really, really good baby face, and I think the fans will rally around him. I think Bobby will definitely benefit from it. And now the question becomes, what's next? And I think that's going to be the key word is what's next. So we hope for the best, but I mean, this can go a number of ways. But at the end of the day, they did an incredible job. They did an incredible job talking, building Omos, and I think they're going to build him even bigger now with this. And then, of course, the other person that also is going to benefit is going to be Bobby. Is going to be Bobby Lashley because of the fact that Lashley did all this, and now he's probably going to benefit, from a babyface push where the fans are definitely going to be on their side, rooting for Lashley to get even with MVP and with Big Omos in a more higher and bigger situation. So nothing more to say. So yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
MVP being the one to turn on Lashley was the right move because it helps solidify Lashley's face turn. Omos needs a mouthpiece, so pairing him with MVP makes a lot of sense. And this segment was telegraphed a bit, but it still worked in the end. So very, very nicely done. And the way that Lashley has transitioned from heel to babyface has been interesting to watch. It wasn't the usual turn that was done with one segment. It has been a slow burn that finally seems to have taken hold. And MVP really clocked Lashley in the back. It looked great on camera. So there isn't much more to say here. All right, we were scheduled to have a match with the former women's tag team champions, Carmella and Queen Zelina, squaring off against Shayna Baszler and Natalya. But that match never happens because what happened here? MF, you want to talk about like your old buddy Joey Styles, talking about the old cat fight. We got that and then some. Because Queen Zelina unleashes hell on Carmella.
Justifiably so and well deserved. I mean, look,
She went there.
She went there,
and
oh yeah, and I loved. You know what? I'm gonna say it, man. Queen Zelina, she's from the Bronx, girl. She's a Bronx girl. She's a New Yorker, man. And man,
absolutely.
I'm gonna openly admit this. New Yorkers and Latinas, they don't hold back on anything. If they don't like you, they will call you out on it. So I mean, that was absolutely a masterful takedown by Zelina, Queen Zelina, and yes, I think after that little rip job, I think we all were bending the knee at the Queen, but
yes.
for speaking the truth is what we're gonna say about that. Then of course Carmella doing what she normally would do. By literally disrespecting Queen Zelina by saying, "Oh, I was going to have you as a bridesmaid for the wedding, maybe even the maid of honor. Now you could be the flower girl." Oh, that was disrespectful, and Queen Zelina went after her for that. So I think we might have ourselves a little bit of a situation where we might see Queen Zelina versus Carmella down the line. Of course, Carmella actually is getting married tomorrow, is what I've heard. So I think she's getting married tomorrow to Corey Graves. So obviously that's going to happen. They probably won't be back next week. And then from there, we'll see. So maybe they build this up and maybe we get this as a match at WrestleMania Backlash in Providence. We might get it. But if we do,
kickoff show, maybe.
Yeah, possibly kick. I agree with that. I think kickoff would definitely be the most worthiest spot for this. This doesn't need to be on the main card. This could be a match that could get us before the show. So traditionally they do have one match, line out there before the pay-per-view. So I mean, yeah, so I could definitely see that happening and getting us ready for this for the fight card. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to watch, and yeah, it was pretty cool. So then okay, did we really need all that PDA between Corey Graves and Carmella? I mean,
Bullock went off on that. He was like, Bullock was like, "Where's my damn barf bag?" You should have heard him during our Raw chat, man. Oof. Back.
Oh my goodness. Quite frankly, I don't blame him.
Right there with
him. I mean, that makeout session was definitely not PG. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna tell you this right now, but and it's a good thing Michael Bullock is not here, because I think he absolutely would have gone bonkers on this. And it's a good thing Dee Dee Woodson's not here, because she probably would go bonkers on this. But Corey Graves was actually insisting that if Carmella and Queen Zelina would have successfully defended the titles at WrestleMania, that Corey Graves was actually And he legitimately meant this. He was actually talking to WWE about maybe doing a live sex celebration tonight
Whoa,
on Monday Night Raw.
that is not PG.
Oh no.
That is so not PG.
Oh no. And thank God they did not win the belts at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah,
Because
that would have been worse. I mean,
oh
Edge,
my God,
Edge and Lita. Edge and Lita was epic. Edge and Lita was epic when they did it. But
Yeah.
those two, oh God, no. That would have been automatic. Click. Let's watch the national championship game instead.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, there was talk about a possible live sex celebration, and I read it. I read a dirt sheet about it this morning or earlier today, and it was confirmed by Corey Graves on social media. I was like, oh my God, if this would have happened.
Oh, what? I mean, oh my goodness, the USA Network executives and the oh boy, the FCC would have really come down hard on the USA Network executives.
Oh my God, the USA Network executives would have had a heart up, like they probably would have had heart palpitations. They went through this once before. They went through this once before. They went through this once before with Edge and Lita,
but they got away with it
and got away with it
because it was the ruthless aggression era. It was not PG.
Yeah, this time around, oh boy, oh that would have been bad. That would have been bad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And thank God Michael Bullock was not here because
he would have lost his mind.
Oh yeah.
Imagine if Dee Dee had been on. Dee Dee Woodson would have been worse.
She probably would have insisted woodshed.
Checkered apron.
That's exactly what this would have been.
Oh boy. I'm gonna try very hard to get that visual out of my head. Oh my God almighty. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, but Zelina though. Zelina was the star. I mean, blaming Mella for losing the belts and then calling Corey Graves a fool. But he did say, however, he is a very handsome man. Oh, that was great. So, all right. Let's see. Where do we go from here? All right. 6-man tag team matchup. U.S. heavyweight champion Finn Balor and the Raw tag team champions RK Bro. That's a nice little team. Squaring off against Austin Theory and the SmackDown tag team champions, the Usos. The heel team, Austin Theory and the Usos, win it at 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Now that Theory has finished up his feud with Pat McAfee, it looks like he will be pursuing the United States heavyweight title held by Balor. They have teased this feud for weeks, and it looks like it's finally moving forward. All 6 of these guys use different styles, but they all know how to work against those styles, so these teams meshed well to put on a solid match. Had some good high spots, decent mat work, and some fun double team moments. Theory ended up getting the win for his team with a pin on Balor, so he will likely use this to request a title shot in the future, although in our opinion, this is a championship committee moment. The spot when Theory tripped Riddle on the middle rope to send him crashing to the floor looked great, and a lot of wrestlers have used the cutter as a signature move, but nobody hits it the way Randy Orton does. His RKO always looks incredible. I'm going to give it a solid 3 stars for the effort. Fun little sprint. A very fun little sprint. And there isn't much more to say. The most notable takeaway, MF, as I give it to you, the most notable takeaway, Austin Theory pinning the United States heavyweight champion Finn Balor. So you know what that means. Championship committee moment.
Absolutely. Balor loses. You saw the look in the face on one of the fans as he shook his head with disgust. That's, I think, how we feel about it right about now, is that Balor just does not get any breaks. There's really nothing more to add. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And it is a 3-star match. And, Anthony, it's yours.
And next up, MF, oh ho ho. It was Edge. Edge comes out, cuts a heel promo. And I think at this point in the show, this is finally where the crowd, the typical Raw after WrestleMania crowd, finally woke up here. Because, oh boy, did they have fun with this. I mean, Edge called them sheep, and the fans chanted back, "We are sheep, we are sheep." And they called them losers, and then he said called them, and then I believe they called them losers, and then they chanted, "We are losers," and the fans made this segment so fun. Edge and Damian Priest interrupted by AJ Styles. There's no question we're getting Edge and AJ again. I hope we get it in Providence because, oh my God, will that be fun to watch?
Yes, absolutely.
But MF, I mean, this was really where that typical Raw after Mania crowd really finally woke up. Oh my goodness! After all those weeks and months, or all those several months of singing Edge's praises, and then to turn on him like that, wow, that was vintage Raw after WrestleMania crowd.
Yeah, this was Raw after Mania, and we were waiting for you. We found you. Glad that you guys showed up finally. You guys were sitting on your hands all night, and then I guess you were just waiting for the right guy to start heckling and start causing all the mayhem. And sure enough, Bizarro World just broke out. But I loved it. I thought the crowd was awesome. Yeah, there's really nothing more to add. I thought this was a solid segment, and yeah, I think we're gonna get the ultimate payoff. AJ Styles versus Edge, a rematch. We're just gonna have to wait and see how it plays out. But I thought they did a really good job with it. So yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, fantastic segment. I mean, this came out really, really good, and that crowd made that segment so much fun. Bullock and I had fun with it during our Raw chats. So, I mean, wow, that was just awesome. So, continuing on here, we had ourselves, it was scheduled to be a regulation tag team match with the Street Profits against the Alpha Academy. But before the match got started, it got out of control. And then that prompted Adam Pearce to come out. And Adam Pearce was like, y'all want to fight at the same time? All you had to do was ask me. So what we're going to do is we're going to restart this match. No countouts, no disqualifications. Anything goes. Texas Tornado tag team match. Winners of the match, 8 minutes and 25 seconds. It was the Street Profits. And wow. We have seen these two teams fight several times, but the stipulation helped keep this from feeling like the exact same match we just saw a few weeks ago. The bout had some entertaining spots, but it never reached the level of craziness you expect from a tornado tag. We did get to see Ford put Gable through a table with the From the Heavens frog splash for the win. So that helped make the finish more exciting than the rest of the match. And we are running out of ways to say Montez Ford can defy gravity. He keeps producing memorable moments. So another fun little sprint, another 3 stars. MF, I mean, with a little more time, this could have been epic.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was at least a 3-star match. I mean, this could have been one of the best matches if it would have kept going. But at the end of the day, it was solid for what it was worth. The body of work was great. I really got nothing bad to say. I thought they did a really good job with it. So nothing more to add. And Anthony, I believe now was Tribal Chief.
Tribal Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into that, though, 3 matches announced for next Monday night's Raw at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. AJ Styles goes one-on-one with Damian Priest. Sasha Banks and Naomi with their first defense of their newly won women's tag team titles. They will defend against Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And Rey Mysterio will face in his debut match on Raw, Veer Mahan. So there you go. Yes, Roman Reigns. What else is there to say, MF? Tribal Chief cutting his victory lap promo.
Yeah, and it was cookie cutter. It was traditional. It was just him just saying that he has done everything that he could do. I love that little twist that they did to talk about, the success of the Bloodline. The longest reigning SmackDown Tag Team Champions right now is the Usos, and then of course Roman Reigns holding now both belts at the same time, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. I mean, it's a historic moment. It's one of the greatest moments in wrestling history, and he is by far the unanimous face of WWE right now. And you could even make an argument right now with what he has just done, with the history that he just made. He is practically right now in the driver's seat for Wrestler of the Year in 2022 already, to do what he has just done, and to do it in the way that he's done it, and to continue to do it in the way that he's done it. It's just remarkable. So there's really nothing more to add. It was a traditional promo, and now they actually said, that they'll lay out the groundwork for what's going to be next for Roman on Friday. So must see TV on Friday night on Fox, and I guess we'll find out his first possible opponent, as it pertains to, or what they're going to do now with defending, how they're going to defend both titles, or what they're going to do with the championships. I guess we'll have to wait till Friday to figure out all that. But yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. This Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman spent a few minutes talking just to reveal that they will tell us their next step Friday night on SmackDown at the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee. Not a good way to use Roman Reigns the day after he unified the two biggest titles in WWE, and I'm sorry to say it felt like a waste. And here's the reason why. WWE waited until it had 10 minutes left in the show, and then still had Roman do his full entrance to take up almost half of that time. And you noticed, when Roman lifted the belt above his head, it looked like he was in a bit of pain. I think he's still suffering the effects from that, from the injury, from the Kimura of Brock Lesnar. So that's really all there is to say here. I'll give this show about a 6 out of 10. It was hardly a hot Raw after WrestleMania. There were no call-ups. The only real surprise was the man formerly known as Elias, now known as Ezekiel. He looks way different now. Damn near clean shaved and his hair down and all that. I mean, I couldn't even tell who this guy was. And then when I heard the voice, I'm like, oh my God, that was the guy that used to be Elias. Oh my goodness, did they change him? Did he get a major repackaging? Wow. The only real surprise was that, and the NXT title switch. It wasn't a bad show. It just felt more routine than a lot of post-Mania shows have. And furthermore, with the exception of the Edge segment, the live crowd was not a factor like it has been in past years, when the fans, especially those crazy Euro fans and those passionate IWC marks, those fans didn't hijack it. And while things are not perfect, it tells us that WWE is keeping their most passionate fans happier than they did in the past. And granted, some of their disgruntled viewers may have moved on, but in all honesty, overall, in the grand scope of things, from Friday night to tonight, this company delivered a very strong WrestleMania weekend. And there's not as much for the fans to rebel against like there was when Roman Reigns was being forced down our throats to possibly be the next Cena. We all remember that. They love this guy now. He's the most over he's ever been. So, but tonight was a waste of him, I'm sorry to say. So, it's a solid 6 out of 10. MF, the only way this show would have worked tonight, honestly, is if it had been like all those Raw after WrestleManias in years past, with those crazy Euro fans hijacking and IWC fans hijacking, and if we had gotten a lot more surprises. The only real surprise was the man formerly known as Elias, now known as Ezekiel. He looks way different now. Wow.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 6 out of 10. I totally agree with that. I think there still is some travel bans So especially the ones outside of the US, I think still needs to go through all the COVID things and everything else, and so I think that's why we haven't gotten them uh, just yet. So I think that's why. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think we all were thinking, this could be very interesting, blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, they did pretty well with it. So it was all right. SmackDown definitely will have a bigger say because there's a lot of other things that hasn't been revealed yet. Obviously, we're gonna have to deal with maybe the next contenders for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Now we found out that Roman is definitely going to be talking about his plan. So obviously that kind of does tip the scale that maybe SmackDown might get the first shot. That a SmackDown guy will possibly be getting the first shot at Roman, which is great for us. And then, of course, we also got the other elephant in the room, and that's Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. And that situation has not been rectified yet as it pertains to what happened at WrestleMania. So we have a lot on that end, and then maybe what's going to happen next with Pat McAfee. You know, even though he had the big win, of course he had the shock, the defeat to Mr. McMahon. Could there be something going on between them? I think Pat definitely had one of the big moments of WrestleMania with not only just the entrance but just him winning at Mania. It was one of those feel good moments that had the crowd going. So I mean, we'll wait and see how it goes, how that plays out. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's been it was an okay Raw, but the sky's the limit now. So we'll see what the future may hold. So Anthony, let's just call it a night after this very long show.
But well worth it. That's all there is to say on that. So we want to that will indeed put the bow on this very long and special edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for staying up late with us and tuning in as always. We will be back with you on Wednesday at the traditional 10:30 start time for another edition of Wednesday Night Madness, hosted by good old Michael Fletcher. We're going to start the show with our recap of NXT TakeOver, NXT Stand and Deliver, rather. And then we'll get into NXT 2.0 right after that. And then, of course, we'll wrap it up with AEW Dynamite. Big shows all around on Wednesday. Thursday, we got the return of TXN Sports World, as we will we'll address a couple more free agent moves in the NFL. I don't know if there were any more standouts from baseball, but I do know in the NFL there were a few moves that caught our eye. So we'll address that. We'll also recap the NCAA tournament. And, of course, our congratulations once again to the national champion Kansas Jayhawks. Well done. We'll talk about all that on Thursday. And in the main event, we will preview the 2022 Major League Baseball season, which starts on Thursday. So the season we thought we were not going to get, we're getting. So we'll get into all that on Thursday. Friday, the return of the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. Friday Night SmackDown. AEW Rampage. And MF, I believe, will have a recap of some sort or his thoughts on the ROH Supercard of Honor. I know he wants to get into that. I was originally going to get into a special Tony's Take tonight about the Impact. Impact had a special of their own called Multiverse of Matches. And yes, MF?
I was going to say that I would actually give you the platform on Friday to talk about it if you want to.
That's an idea. Are you going to do your Mikey's Mindset on the Supercard of Honor?
I will indeed, yes.
Why not? Let's do a 2-for-1. Why not?
All right.
I mean, we've been doing a lot of crossovers anyway. We've been doing a lot of crossovers with the sports world and into wrestling and so forth. So yeah, we'll do our SmackDown and AEW stuff as always, and then we'll let MF do the Supercard of Honor, and we'll actually know because I think Multiverse of Matches was before that. So when was Supercard of Honor? Was that on Friday night as well? I think it was. So
It was actually on Friday night during SmackDown Live. So yeah.
Okay. So Supercard of Honor was before, because I think the other show started at 10, I think. So yeah, so because I know they aired that. I know they aired the Impact special during the Hall of Fame. So all right, so we'll let MF do the Supercard of Honor, Mikey's Mindset, and then I'll close it out with a special Tony's Take, as the Tony's Take will invade the Cerebral Smack Talk special installment of that, as I will have my recap of the Impact Wrestling multiverse of matches, and then we'll do it all again next Monday night for another Ridiculously Raw, as there will be Monday Night Raw as always, and in my traditional Tony's Take with Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, this is Anthony Floyer here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock and the First Lady Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Portrait Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days, and until Wednesday for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching this very special edition of Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and streaming.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.